And the highlight probably was in 2011. We were invited to return to the Indy 500 for the centennial celebration. I was not the driver. It was Emerson Fittipaldi.
Even better. Wow.
And I was the mechanician. I was the passenger. We go down the stretch and we hit the row of bricks. We stop the car and my heart is pumping like crazy. And I look to my right and Fittipaldi's smiling. I look to my left. It's Mario Andretti.
Oh, my God.
Shaking our hands. And for a second, I thought I had died.
Welcome, fellow classic and collector car enthusiasts, to the Guys with Their Rides podcast, where I believe there's a story under every hood, and I enjoy interviewing the current caretakers of those cars with interesting stories. This episode is the first of a two-part series where I interviewed a very passionate collector located on Long Island. Howard Kroplick is the creator of the Vanderbilt Cup Races website and has a very interesting collection of very rare automobiles. This first episode focuses on 4 of the cars from his collection. The first is the very storied 1909 Alco Black Beast, and there's a link in the description shows my ride in using a 360-degree camera in what is a racer from the very first Indy 500. Next up is his recently acquired Murphy-Bodied 1930 Duesenberg Model J Berline. We'll explain what a Berline is in the podcast. Third up is the totally rad Domino's Pizza Delivery prototype from the mid-'80s. And finally, we talk about 1948 Tucker, number 144 of 50 produced. Howard wasn't satisfied simply buying this Tucker, and he talks about what it took to turn what should have been a 3-year restoration into an 8-month endeavor in order for he and his team to make the Pebble Beach Concours when they featured Tucker a few years ago. Next Monday, October 1st, I will post the second episode of my interview with Howard, and that will feature all of his Fords. I found Harold to be a very knowledgeable and passionate enthusiast, and I hope you enjoy these episodes as much as I did putting them together. So without further ado, my interview with Howard and his stunning Vanderbilt Cup Races Collection. Welcome to the latest episode of the Guys with Their Rides podcast. I'm Rudy Samsel, the co-founder of GuysWithRides.com, the only dealer-free community and marketplace for classic and collector car enthusiasts like you and me. I believe that there's a story under every hood, and my guest, Howard.
Yep. Okay, you got it.
Howard and graciously called me up, and from our other dear friend, Paul, I'm going to talk about some stunning and rare cars. And most of all is a feature car here, this 48 Tucker. And thank you for agreeing to have this podcast.
Really, first I want to thank you for coming. On waterfront at Roslyn. It's kind of been a central location for car clubs of Long Island. They do a lot of tours, and they end up over here, and we put out displays of these cars several times a year.
Very good. Well, there you go. Now you know where to find it. And your website is?
VanderbiltCupRaces.com. We document the history of racing on Long Island, the history of automobiles on Long Island, and also this car collection.
Very nice, very nice. So, Howard, how did you get in collecting cars? Let's go way back and say, what prompted you to get in the...
Well, let's see. My first car in college was a 66 Mustang that my father obtained for $500 at a police auction. And I love that car. It was a maroon 66 Mustang. It had the gear shifter on the floor. Even though it was automatic, I felt like I was shifting. And I just adored that car. And when I got married 4 years later, my wife said, we have 2 cars. We only have 1 parking space in our apartment area. Something has to go. And she looked at me and said, it's going to be that Mustang to go. So I sold that Mustang, and from the moment I sold that Mustang, I regretted it. And so this went on for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And one time I said, you made me sell my Mustang. She said, enough with that already. Go out and get a 66 Mustang and I don't want to hear about Mustangs anymore. We have talking now for another car. So I went out and at a Christie's auction, there was a 66 Shelby Mustang available. And I said, I'm going to go try to buy that car. And I was at the auction, and once they pointed to me and said sold and pointed to me, a cloud lifted from my head. I was back in the Mustang business, and I started collecting cars too. I had so much fun with that Shelby Mustang, which we'll see a little bit later. You could drive it, you could race it, you could show it. And that got me into the car collection mode. So that was my first car.
And how long ago was that, would you say?
That was 2004.
Okay. Very nice. You've been doing 20 years. And
yeah, over 20 years.
It looks like the oldest car in your collection is the Alco Racer.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
American Locomotive Company. So this car itself was made by a train company, American Locomotive Company, from 1906 to 1913. They had a car division that was based in Providence, Rhode Island. And this car was basically their major race car that they built in 1909. It ran in 16 races from 1909 to 1911. And won 6 out of the 16. Became pretty famous and won the Vanderbilt Cup races here on Long Island. And it raced in the first Indy 500 with one of the favorites to win the Indy 500, but broke down on the 33rd lap.
Wow.
Too. So it's got quite the history. I knew about this car for years as I studied the Vanderbilt Cup races, and it was kind of lost in Europe for a while. It was part of Harris collection in the 70s, and when Bill Harrod died in the 80s, it was auctioned off and ended up in Europe and circulated in a bunch of museums and ended up a French architect used it for vintage racing.
Wow.
And then I saw it in being advertised in 2008 on the internet. And I said, wow, that's the Alco Black Beast. Wouldn't that be a wonderful car as part of the collection here? You know, here I was, wrote a book on the Vanderbilt Cup races, wrote a book on the Long Island Motor Parkway, had pictures of this in my book. And I said, that would be quite the car to bring back here to the United States. And I didn't even really know how to make an offer on a car like this. They wanted a crazy price. I didn't want to pay a crazy price. So I wrote them an offer, very formalized offer, and they wrote back to me, thank you for your offer. We're insulted. That was it. And I wrote back, I said, don't be insulted, negotiate. And sure enough, over about a 4-day period, we came to a price that we both unhappy with, but like it goes in any negotiations. And they said, okay, it's a deal. And I said, wire me the money. I said, well, wire you the money? I don't even know if you have the car. And he said, well, come over to Belgium and see the car. And this was in Thanksgiving, I believe. And I went to my wife and said, you know that car I've been talking about? He says, I just purchased it, and he wants us to go to Belgium to see it. And my wife said, I'm not going to Belgium to see a car. And he said, oh, wait. I said that wrong. He said, Roz, how would you like to go to a vacation next week to Belgium? And we're going to make a little side trip to see a car that I think I'm going to purchase. And she goes, okay, that I can do. So
proof that marketing is everything.
Marketing is everything. I'm a marketing person, and I was marketing it. So we went to Belgium, and the dealership was a little outside Brussels. And I was saying, I hope he has a car. I hope it looks great. And we go we've seen the dealership shop, and there's a Bugatti in the front of the thing. I said, okay, this looks high end. And then I saw that car, and I said, that's coming back. What's interesting, too, I didn't even know if the car ran. I never asked him to start it up. I didn't even ask him. I just was so excited. He said, yeah, we got a deal. Let's bring it back. And sure enough, it ran. The engine worked. It needed some work, everything like that. But that car, I've had it now 16 years, and a lot of fun. We've had thousands of people sit in the car, and it's all documented on the website. And we use it for different charity events, and we had different runs. And the highlight probably was in 2011. We were invited to return to the Indy 500 for the centennial celebration. And I think 8 cars were chosen to do a parade lap.
Very cool.
And I was not the driver. It was Emerson Fittipaldi.
Even better. Wow.
And I was the mechanician. I was the passenger. So, and what was fascinating about it, we were having some trouble with the car prior to the Indy 500. It was breaking down. It would just run and all of a sudden stop. So I was very concerned that here's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do a parade lap, and the car wasn't going to run or was going to break down during the 2-mile track. And but we get to Indy. We're on the track. It's 250,000 people. It's about 2 hours before the regular race. We're all excited. We meet Emerson Fittipaldi, who was a joy to do it. I asked him, I said, well, do you want to test run it? He said, no, I could drive it, which was kind of amazing to me. We were the second car out in the parade lap. Parnelli Jones, unfortunately just passed away, was driving the Marmon, which won the 1911 race. He was the first one out. And he goes out, and then the gentleman who was running the parade lap says, you guys go. I'm going, please go, please go. Yeah. Boom, we zoom out of there, and we're running along, and I'm so excited. The car is running. I got Emerson Fittipaldi, and I have a video, and all you hear is me squealing, like, whoa, it's like we go about 500 yards out, and Parnelli Jones and the Marmon are broken down on the lap, and Fittipaldi goes, what should we do? I said, well, let's just pull up and wait for instructions out of respect. We don't want to pass them. You know, this is the car that won the race. And so we stop right behind the Marmon, and the race, the guy who's running the parade lap comes up to him and says, I need you guys to take the lead. And I said, and I go to Emerson Fittipaldi, and I say, I've been waiting 100 years to hear that. Let's go. We tear out of there. And it was like, oh, it was such a great feeling. We're doing about 40, 50 miles per hour. We get to the stretch, and Fittipaldi says to me, can I see what it can do? And I go, we got wooden spokes here. This car has never gone over 50, and he wants to see what it can do.
He's a true racer.
And I go, what the heck? You only live once, you know? So I said, sure, go. So we're going down the track. We're hitting like 60, 65 miles per hour. You feel like you're going about 120 with it. And we go down the stretch, and we hit the row of bricks. We stop the car, and my heart is pumping like crazy. And I look to my right, and Fittipaldi's smiling. I look to my left. It's Mario Andretti.
Oh, my God.
Shaking our hands. And for a second, I thought I had died. Did I survive this parade lap? But I did pinch myself, and I hope I would.
That whole thing right there, I hope you kneel down and kiss the bricks right there.
Yes, we did.
Good for you.
We did.
Good for you.
So, but great experience. A lot of fun with that car, to say the least. Then we have the Duesenberg.
Yes. Now, there's several cars since I started Guys with Rides that I've grown to appreciate. And a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity on a coast-to-coast trip to stop at the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum. These a Duesenberg and the Cords, you don't have an appreciation for them looking at them two-dimensionally. But you get in front of them, and it's just such a... I can only imagine somebody driving when this car was new down the street during the Great Depression. So tell us about your Duesenberg here, because it's a doozy. I had to say it.
I always had an appreciation for Duesenbergs, but I never thought I'd own one until recently. I think it was earlier this year, a gentleman offered to show me his collection of 40 cars. And I said, it includes a Duesenberg. I said, ooh, I have to see that. You know, so we go down to the collection, magnificent collection, Packards, Oldsmobiles, very eclectic collection. But one car there really caught my eye is this 1930 Duesenberg J. Murphy. And I asked him, well, what's your plans for this collection? He said, I'm selling all these cars. He says, I'm working with RM. It's going to be sold in October at Hershey. And I go, have you signed the papers yet? And he says, no. I said, oh, well, would you consider a private sale of one of the cars? And he was shaking his head, well, I don't know about that. And then he said, well, look, you'll save commission, and we'll keep the car here on Long Island. It's supposed to go into Saudi Arabia. And that appealed to him. He said he wanted to see the car. He had owned it for about 7 years and really didn't want to see it shipped off someplace too. So I said, give me a couple of days. I can figure out, let me do a little due diligence on the car. So I spoke to 4 Duesenberg's experts. They basically authenticated the car. Yes, it's a real Duesenberg. So it hasn't shown a lot, this car, but it has a great history to it. And basically they gave me a feel for market price, but it's really all over the place. So,
sure.
And I was a little hesitant about buying the car because I didn't have a real Duesenberg expert look at it and didn't check out the engine. But it was kind of like the Alco that immediately I wanted the car too. I didn't want to show that too much excitement about it, but basically, we were able to work out a deal, and really excited about this car. It's a beautiful looking car. I was able to do additional research. I was recently out in California, and meeting with my daughter in Los Angeles, and they said, let's take a little side trip down to Santa Ana and meet with Randy Ema, who is the best-known Duesenberg historian there is. And I arranged to meet with him. We met, I thought we'd have about a half an hour. We met 3 hours with Randy, who was absolutely wonderful. He has a file on every Duesenberg that has ever been made. That's what he researches. And he had a pile like this on my Duesenberg.
Who commissioned the car when it was new? Do you know the history?
Yes. And again, this was where Randy Ema came in very handy. This car was built for Florence Selznick,
okay,
the mother of David O. Selznick, the producer of Gone with the Wind, and the mother of Myron Selznick, who was the all-thing Hollywood agent at the time. So this car was built for the Selznick family.
So that would have been, we would call that old money today, but that was really new money.
It was really new money. And the Duesenbergs, a lot of the Duesenbergs were built for Hollywood types, Clark Gable, for example.
Nice. And they went with a 4-door, I would call that a Phaeton, right? A 4-door Phaeton with the window or not?
Yeah, this is a 4-door. It's a convertible.
Okay.
A convertible sedan Berline. And the Berline means that there's a partition in between the passenger seats and the driver's seat, so it's much more formal. So this is a chauffeur-driven convertible car, but it's also, if you look at the car, it really doesn't look like a convertible because the canvas top and also the headliner too. This is a rare Duesenberg because even though it's a convertible, it has a headliner that covers all the metal mechanisms as well. So even though it's a convertible, I don't think it's been shown without the top from years.
And so I know a lot of pre-war 4-door convertibles like that, the posts are removable, but it looks, correct me if I'm wrong, those posts stay fixed with that window there or no? Oh, they do?
It's a question that we're still researching.
Okay.
I would think that they probably are removable. Again, when I looked at what Randy's files had, there's some pictures of that as a convertible with the top down.
Fascinating. Okay.
With a bunch of Hollywood stars on it. So we're trying to obtain those photos. Yeah, here we have all these very rare cars, very well known. And what we have here, back in November, we have the Domino's pizza delivery prototype car, the Triton A2 Aerocar.
Yeah.
And again, it's a matter of people contacting me. Said, "Did you see that program on CNN? Did you see that program on CNBC on the Domino's car? You got to get that. That's a wild car. That's an unusual car." And I looked at it and said, "That's a little unusual car." I said, "But it grew on me pretty quick, and like I said, yeah, you know what? That's a unique car. It's one of only 10 Domino's pizza delivery prototype cars. I think they were made in 1984 to test a unusual car to deliver Domino's pizza. And they tested it in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It obviously failed. They only make 10 of them. 7 exist. Only 3 of them run, including this one. Curiously, out of the 7 owners of these cars, 3 of them own Tuckers too. So there must be something crazy
it's
about
in the genes. Yeah,
it's in the genes too. So, and this was at an auction in a Mecum auction in Las Vegas.
Okay,
and I had, like I said, people contact me ahead of time. Like 4 different people said, "You got to get that car," and I kind of forgot about it. Then, like a half an hour before the auction, I said, "Oh, that auction's going on. Let me check in." And I called them up, and they said, "Oh, you're too late to register." I said, "Why?" They said, "Let me give you a credit card." And so at the last minute, like 2 minutes before the auction began, they registered for me. I'm watching it on television, right? And that's how I'm bidding. I see the Triton come across the line, and I see the guy I'm talking to on the phone. It was really crazy type thing. As a kid, you'd love talking to a television. Here I am talking to the guy bidding on this car, and it's going back and forth. And again, I wait to the last second and I bid on it.
Great strategy.
They said, "It's sold to the person on the internet." The guy gives me a thumbs up, and I got the Triton A2. And so it was a lot of fun. And it so happened that the next day, the auction was in Las Vegas, and I was scheduled, of all things, to go to Las Vegas to see the Jets play the Las Vegas Raiders. And I said, "Oh, we got to go see the car." So me and my friends, we went and saw the car, and it was kind of great. The next day, we were there looking at the car, and it's really a unique car. We brought this to Old Westbury Car Show with beautiful cars again, but everybody loved this little Triton because I had the kids sit in the car. We had a Domino's pizza box, and they would pose in the box, and I'd give them they pose in the car, and I'd give them the box, and I'd say cheese, pizza. And they'd always bring a big laugh. And it was one of the few cars where the kids could sit in the car, so the parents really enjoyed it.
Well, it's almost guaranteed you get your pizza in under 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's some sort of motorcycle powertrain under there? Or not?
It's a rotary engine.
Oh, it is? Wow.
A company that is located in Israel that's long out of business. They're no longer in business. So that's why there's only 3 of these that still run.
Wow.
But we got it up and running. And we have Rob Eider recently worked on the engine, so it's working well.
So they licensed the Wankel design?
I don't think it's a Wankel. I think they had their own rotary engine design.
Own rotary engine design. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So it's a wild car.
I can tell, yeah.
But it was not very practical for a pizza delivery car. First of all, it was 3 wheels, so you need a motorcycle license to drive it. Very low. It has a canopy on the top that when you close the canopy, you can't hear a thing. So the traffic, it's a pretty dangerous car. So we just do it on car show fields and in the parking lot over here.
Good. Start with the Tucker. It's a stunning car. The only other one I've seen in person personally is out in California at Francis Ford Coppola's winery. Yeah. But this one is well above that one. So tell us about this car and then how you came about it.
Yeah. Well, I started collecting a bunch of cars. I was starting to get into it, and everybody would ask me, "What's going to be your next car?" Because I like historic cars, one-of-a-kind kind of cars. And I always adored the Tuckers whenever I saw one. I saw it in the Hershey Museum, the a.k.a. Museum in Hershey.
Yes.
And they had 3 Tuckers there, and they had a whole wing on Tuckers. And as I was walking through there, I said, boy, someday, if I can find a Tucker, that would be wonderful to own. So it was always in my mind that if there was a good opportunity to buy a Tucker, I would do it. And sure enough, in 2017, a Tucker came up for sale, in Arizona, an RM auction in Arizona. And not knowing much about Tuckers, I did due diligence, and I ended up talking to Sean Tucker, who was the great-grandson of Preston Tucker. I think, gee, he's going to know a lot about Tuckers. And in fact, he knew a lot about number 1044. And he said, it's a great car. He said, it's got all the parts. It runs. He says, but it's not appropriate color. It was this brown color. And he says, that's going to help you in the auction because not a lot of people want to own a brown car or even a brown Tucker. So I said, maybe this is the car where I'll have an opportunity to purchase it. And sure enough, went down to Arizona, and I was able to purchase this car at auction. And for about a year or so, we drove it around as the brown Tucker, and we got it so it was up and running. And it made the cover of Hemmings as the brown Tucker, where they had a focus on the Tucker automobile and the history of it. And got to know the Tucker family very well, the great-grandsons, Mike and Sean Tucker. And they said that if you ever want to restore it, we'd love to get involved. And they, along with Rob Ida, who is really specialized in hot rod restorations, they teamed up. And sure enough, we restored this car with the Tucker family. I was having so much fun with the car that I really didn't want to spend years of it restoring it. So I said, well, why don't we do a phase one of the restoration? And I asked them how long it would take, and they said 3 years. I said, well, that's way too long. I want to enjoy the car. But I gave it to them in phase one of the restoration. And sure enough, that year, Pebble Beach announced there's a Tucker class. And that was like 8 months away. I said, is there any way we could do 3 years of work in 8 months? And they said, to get it to Pebble Beach, we're going to do it. So they basically did a 3-year restoration in 8 months.
Wow.
And they ended up what they consider the most accurate Tucker in the world, because the Mike and Sean had gotten to the original archives of their great grandfather, and they documented that this was going to be the most accurate Tucker.
Fascinating. How many miles are on the car, and what?
Let's see. How many miles are on the car? I think it's only 25,000. No, it's only 8,000 miles. In fact,
only 8,000.
Yeah, it's only 8,000 miles on this car.
And you are caretaker number?
I believe I'm number 7 overall. It went to auction in 1950 with a bunch of other Tuckers when the Tucker company went bankrupt, and I think it sold for $3,500 back then.
Wow.
Substantially less than I paid for
it. I can imagine, yeah. And so what in that 8-month restoration, obviously the paint, which stunning color match.
Story about the paint. Remember, this was brown. We always knew that the original color was Andante green. But when you look at the other Andante green Tuckers, they're all different grains. Fortunately, on this car, when we went into the wheel well, there were elements of the green still on the wheel well. So we did a computer analysis, a handheld computer analysis of it, and we ended up with this color, Andante green. And we believe this is the accurate Andante green for Tucker.
I'm guessing it's the original interior. Not much had to be done there.
No, we had to restore the upholstery on it as well. Yeah, it was pretty far gone. It hadn't been restored since, I think, 1975. So it needed a lot of work. We took out like 500 pounds of lead out of the car, too, because remember, this was a prototype handmade car. This was Tucker's never got into production. So the 50 cars that they made were basically all handmade. And this car was number 44. The Tuckers, by the way, are known by their chassis number.
Okay.
So this is 1044. It's the 44th one on the line. And it was actually finished after the factory closed. So a bunch of workers, I think it was about 10 workers, including the person who designed the car, got together and finished the car.
So even rarer than the car is this manufacturer's plate. Can you explain that a little bit?
That's what you have here is an original Tucker plate. And what's really cool about it, front and back, is that we had matching chassis numbers here. So the number 44 here matches the chassis. It matches the chassis number of the car, and that's finding Tucker plates are really difficult. Finding a matching one to the car's chassis number is almost impossible. But I did track down 2 people who owned it, and they wouldn't take money for it. They wanted trades of different types of license plates and different criteria. So that took about 6 months to negotiate that and find what they were looking for. But I'm very proud of that. And people ask me what was my involvement in the restoration. I said, well, I didn't have much to do with it, but I did pay the bill. That was very important. And I found the original license plate.
So being a prototype car, plates were hard to find. Was that the hardest thing to find for the car? Or was there something even more difficult that you absolutely needed for the car?
No, and again, working with the Tucker family, they had connections, find almost everything that was needed for the car. Okay. Some of them, they came out of their garage. I think that the headlight in the middle of the Tuckers are known for their Cyclops headlight that moves with the steering wheel. That's an original headlight that's in there from the Tucker family collection. It was a real pleasure working with them. We've restored a bunch of cars, but it was one of the best experiences working with them. And they were working under pressure. Like you said, they were doing amazing. They were working 12 hours a day to get this car ready for Pebble Beach.
It's great. I've seen a couple videos featuring them, and they seem like pretty down to earth, and they're just
down to earth, and just wonderful people to know. And that I have to say, we've become friends. Yeah. So we take this car out and out to various car shows, and invariably they show up with me with the car. And it's a lot of fun at the car shows because people will go, oh, I've never seen a Tucker, and I have so many questions, and they'll be asking me questions about the car. I said, well, I can answer that, but maybe it'd be better Preston Tucker's great-grandson gives you the answer. And they go, oh, my goodness. So it's a lot of fun.
Very cool, very cool. The fascinating, among other things, was the pop-out windshield on the car, the articulating headlight. But even more interesting was the decision of the engine.
Yeah, remember these were kind of the prototype cars for the Tucker. They never got into production, so they were basically putting it together in what existing materials. So the engine that they had is a Franklin helicopter engine that Preston Tucker purchased about 100 of them, and it was really just going to be a temporary engine for the car. They were designing their own, but in the back of the car is a helicopter engine. The small helicopters you see in the opening of MASH, the Bell helicopters, same engine that's in the Tucker.
And Franklin was
in the back too. It's in the rear. And the front, we have the trunk, and inside the trunk you'll see another piece of collectible materials. We have original Tucker luggage that's out of the box. That the Mike and Sean Tucker helped me find too.
Wow.
So, and this was actually what got Preston Tucker in trouble, is that he was selling radios, he was selling luggage, he was selling dealerships, and that's where the government said, you're not really interested in selling automobiles. You're committing fraud here, and that's where he got into trouble legally. It took 6 months. He was found innocent, but by the time he was found innocent, he was out of business.
And some would say by design, but
talking to the Tucker family too, the movie took the viewpoint. It was really the big three that went after him. There was some truth to that, but most likely he had bad lawyers, I think, and he was undercapitalized. He didn't have enough money really to do what he wanted. He actually sold 20,000 automobiles on paper, but he was never able to survive the lawsuits so that he could get into production. So, the big three might have had some factor, but most likely he had bad attorneys and he was undercapitalized. The film, and speaking to Mike and Sean Tucker, the big change in the perception of Tucker was with Francis Ford Coppola's 1988 film, where he told the story of Preston Tucker and his dream. And after that film, I remember talking to Mike Tucker. He said, we really didn't even talk about our association with our great-grandfather because it was embarrassing, because he was seen as a person accused of being a fraud. And he said, but after that film, the whole perception of Tucker's changed. and they're certainly very proud of what their great-grandfather achieved. And like I said, anytime I'm at a car show with the Tucker family, everyone gets very excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing the car.
We had this the Mistlewood Concours up in Beverly, Massachusetts. We were specially invited up there because the person who ran that show, his father had a Tucker dealership that never opened, but he always was fascinated by Tuckers. So we brought it up there, and it was the first Tucker they ever had at this show. And we were getting a lot of attention that we always do with a Tucker, but people saying, I've never seen a Tucker before. And then Mike and Sean Tucker were there, and we had a lot of fun with that. And at 1:30, they announced we're giving out the awards and the ribbons to everybody. And so they're giving out ribbons, and looking at all the cars around. Every car has a ribbon. We have nothing. And so people come in and say, "Oh, what did the Tucker win?" I said, "Well, apparently, we didn't win anything in this one. It was like the first Concours we went to that they didn't give us a little ribbon or something, So and the judges, there were like 20 judges. They would walk past us without even looking at us. Like said, "Oh, we're sorry you didn't win anything," and like, let's go. It's kind of weird that we didn't win anything, but it's okay. We enjoyed the day. And finally, one of the judges comes up to us and says, it's just, "What'd you win?" He was one of the judges. He says, "No, we didn't win anything." He said, "Oh, well, there is one ribbon left." And he walks away quickly. He said, "What does he mean by that?" And then sure enough, like 10 minutes later, the chief judge comes up. We won Best in Show. So this was the judges having fun with us, knowing that we were Best in Show and making believe that we didn't get anything. So it was pretty good. So it was good. This car has actually won 5 Best in Shows.
Wow.
Which, again, it's considered the most awarded Tucker in the world. Fascinating,
and love the color. Well, thank you again, but.
Rudy, it's a pleasure meeting you and being part of your program. And
thank you.
I hope one of the things that I do is I like sharing these cars. So when we get it here, we do deep research into it, and we share it on the website, and we share it with the car clubs of Long Island here as well.
So I love that more than anything, that you're not just keeping it to yourself and you're giving it to the community. I love that you're letting kids sit in it, and I think that's so important for the hobby.
Right.
Those are the kind of memories like Paul with his Batmobile. They remember those stories, and that ultimately might be the fun that gets them to be quite a future collector.
In fact, Graham, who is my archivist and works with the collection here, the first time I met Graham, he was 8 years old, and he sat in the Alco.
Okay.
And I think that inspired him to some degree to pursue his career in photography and also in the automobile history research area.
Graham has been a savior today with the cameras up. Thank you for showing the stunning collection of the Tucker, the Duesenberg, the Alco, and
the Triton, the Joint 2 Aerocar,
a Triton,
or the Domino's pizza delivery car.
Stunning car. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. If you're in the Long Island area,
Vanderbilt Cup Races.com.
Check out the Vanderbilt Cup Races website. I'll share a link in the description. And if you haven't, check out my website, guyswithrides.com. The only dealer-free marketplace and community for classic car enthusiasts. If you're in the tri-state area and want to have a great selection, or even whether it's one car or a selection and have an interesting story, I'd love to hear about it. And I can come to your site and interview you. So for an upcoming episode of the Guys with Their Rides podcast. So thank you for watching. Get out there and drive. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching this video. Please press the like and subscribe button, comment below, and be sure to check out our other videos on this subject, as well as all of the great content on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, you can call me at the number listed below, or be sure to check out our main website, guyswithrides.com.